Man, it is expensive to be selfish. Why the religious always attack the righteous, exposing Straitway. Man, I just watched a video from a brother that Pastor Dowell posted, and this brother was a part of Straitway Praise Land. And I'm sitting there watching this video, thinking about how many people won't be able to relate. And I'm going to put this into perspective. Man, there is probably about 99% of the population that won't even comprehend or understand the righteousness of what that brother was saying. And people that don't understand, they don't hear the blessings in what he said. Why? Because their own selfish ambition is in the way, is at the forefront of their reasoning. The reason why they're always in their feelings, and that brother only spoke to certain aspects of it. And people, the first thing that comes to their mind is, I couldn't live off no $50 a month. Meanwhile, while you choose to live in bondage, and persecute those who have been set free. Man, I'll tell you, I'm very thankful to the environments and the opportunities that the military has exposed me to. Man, oftentimes you will have on a deployment, if you are a single person, you have the opportunity to save a lot of money. On my last deployment, where I was in Bagram, Afghanistan, on the airfield, man, I was able to live off $50, $40, if that, a month. And I'll tell you why. Your housing is covered. Before I deployed, I got rid of my apartment, put my orders in. They terminated the lease, got rid of the stuff. The military was storing your belongings. You got more food than you can eat in the DFAT. It may not be Roof Chris every night, but they got snacks that you can grab, chips, all this stuff that you can grab. What I spent that money on was potentially additional snacks that I wanted and internet. And I had 3 roommates. I had probably a space that we built out of lumber that was probably about 8 feet by 8 feet at most during my last deployment. And we all would chip in on the internet. The internet package was like $40. So each of us would put together $10, and because we were on 3 different shifts, we never really had a problem utilizing the internet. This is why I say being selfish, is very expensive. And we were able to save a lot of money. But guess what? On my first deployment in Iraq, I had a supervisor that was trying to put the young soldiers on game. Save your money, save your money, save your money, save your money, save your money. He was talking to us about, hey, don't tell your family how much your blood family, how much money you making, because they're going to suck you dry and you ain't going to have nothing to show for it. I chose to listen to that. And the word says, obey them that have rule over you. I come back from a deployment with people that had the same opportunity that I had, and guess what? They come back further in debt. Further in debt. You have the people out here that choose to be in bondage rather than getting set free, while operating as religious, persecute the righteous. Only like 1% of the population will even understand that video that Pastor Dowell posted with the brother giving a testimony. You know, you got to think, women and men are focused on their selfish ambition, even if it doesn't even in the end amount to you having a pot to piss in. You got to think, he was telling you that this is a ministry that's not operating in debt. It's a ministry that when he came had $1,000 worth of debt. He had $1,000 worth of debt, and they helped him get out of that. Yo, here's the thing. People attack Straitway, but guess what they're not doing? You're not attacking your doggone Christian church and they got a homosexual pastor. You're not attacking the church for them not rebuking and letting harlots come up all in there. You're not attacking your local church because they operate out of debt and got a building fund, pastor appreciation, first lady, all of this stuff that's unbiblical. And then you start to see, when you look at the scribe and Pharisees, they were the religious attacking the righteous. They were double-minded, unstable in all their ways. You got to think, the disciples, the apostles, Messiah wouldn't have had all these problems if it wasn't for these vain religious people constantly trying to attack them and persecute them. Man, I'll give you a testimony. Well before I moved on our land, and we bought land outright, paid for it. Well before I moved on the land, I tried to bring my own family into it. My own family. And everybody was on board until it came time to, hey, this is what it's going to take to live like this. This is what it's going to take. Hey, brother, I'll be in there in a minute. Okay. I got you. This is what it's going to take. You know, we were able to start a business. And I told my family, I said, this is what we are doing. This is what y'all is setting in motion. And I said, you will be able to not have to worry about a mortgage, not have to worry about paying no bills. Man, people rather be selfish on their own. People rather suffer in their own selfishness. But me knowing how to do a lot of stuff, being a jack of all trades, I can replace an engine in a car, you know, rebuild a transmission, work on AC on the house, do basic electrical, and I'm striving to learn more. Guess who people call when they have problems with their stuff and don't want to pay the exorbitant prices that the actual contractors or skilled laborers are going to charge them? They want to call me when they had the opportunity to live in an environment where you had the resources to thrive. And this is where you realize you don't want double-minded or lazy people on the community. You don't want them there. You got to think, people will be quick to eat up all the food that the garden produces. But when, like today, it's 103 where I am, you're going to have very few, like the word says, the harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few. You're going to have a lot of people that will be there when it's time to eat and all this good food is prepared, but you ain't going to have nobody that want to tend to the garden, to do that husbandry. And this is why the people that persecute Straitway, rather than following the example, this is why they going to suffer in their independence. You got to think, Pastor Dowell is showing people how to operate, set apart, you know, how to set something up in the form of a trust and add people onto it based upon their commitment to the community once they show forth. And then you don't never have to worry about your stuff hitting probate. But guess what? People rather take out a 30-year mortgage, possibly die before you pay it off, and then you got a will, hopefully, and that stuff has to go through probate, And then they're going to eat up all of your resources, a lot of them, and then give the family the scraps, whatever's left over after court fees, lawyer fees, processing fees. You got men out there that persecute the men of Straitway because the women at Straitway are modest and meek, and you got to deal with a harlot at home. That's why these men do that, rather than taking heed to the game plan. You got people making videos right now about a child at Straitway demanding answers. You know, coming up with all kind of headlines. And like I said, you was a care bear. You was never there. Your interests are not genuine. And you attack the children. I don't know how them little kids, they must be getting abused and sexually molested. Why? Because you got some lawless ass kids. You will let your kids come in the house and talk to you crazy and tell you what you gonna do. Your woman too. And these men attack Straitway. They attack it. Here's another one. One thing that I made very clear was, before we moved out on the land and we was going to invite the family, I said, man, laziness will not be tolerated. You know, and you'll realize that people hate accountability. You got to think, man, if you have multiple people using a shower, in the military we call them a latrine, and all you have to do at the end of your shower is take the bottle of cleaner that's there, spray the shower down, rinse all the hair and all the stuff off the wall, all the bodily stuff that you scrub off, spray it down, sanitize it. Here's what you have. And I saw this even in a deployment environment where we had to enforce bathroom cleanliness. We had nice bathrooms, but nasty people dirty up the stuff and then don't want to clean it up. But guess what? When it's time to do a survey about what could be improved, these would be the first people to tell you how nasty the bathrooms are when they're the ones leaving the toilets clogged up, when all you got to do is call a number and have somebody unclog it. They rather report their own nastiness and make it seem like it's the nastiness of everybody. They the one leaving pubes in the shower, hair in the drain, because you didn't went in there and all your hair didn't fell out. You done shaved your doggone private areas in the shower and then left it on the wall, and then you report these bathrooms as nasty. You know, the average person is not good enough, you know, does not have the mindset to live in a community, concept, because they're going to bring bondage to the community where you have potentially one or two people that have the vision of being set free. I tell you, like, I was talking to my wife the other day. I said, I know you got these friends, but let some shit hit the fan. And I got one brother in righteousness, a commandment-keeping brother. That would be damn near the only brother in my AO that steps foot on that land in the event of something jumps off. Why? Because we are like mind. We're like mind. Blood family, in-laws, that always, let me tell you something. As long as you're providing the resources, people are having a good time. But you got more people out there that will show up to a cookout, not bring nothing, and expect all of this top-tier food while sucking you dry. You got to think, man, people are, I have pastors in my family. Pastors. People that have been in ministry 15, 20, 30 plus years. They've been in Christendom. And they be like, man, you guys is doing it, boy. You guys is doing it what the book says. And we, in my household, we still got work to do. And I'll be looking at them crazy like, if you looking at us so amazed and you supposed to be the one showing people, what the hell you doing? What are you doing? And then you got, like I said, people don't persecute the church that is promoting vain worship, promoting idolatry. You know, you got to think, the same accusation that people attack Straitway with, they need to take that doggone bullet or that firearm that's firing those accusations and turn it at yourself. Turn it at yourself. You got to think, if you're a man attacking Straitway, talking about the women is abused, man, some of these men need to put their women up front so you can see the abuse that their women are taking because they choose not to lead them righteously. You got to think about this. And it's sad, man. A lot of these people that make these videos was never there. They don't care. They're not following the blueprint. And because they don't want to follow suit, they're never going to get set free. They're going to constantly be in bondage. And that jealousy, that envious, spirit on them will continue to be there. Will continue to be there. And here's the thing. Just because somebody has a testimony that was there and lived there for 10, 15 years doesn't mean they was worth a damn. Let me tell you something. Let me give you something. Man, I work around people that make it all the way to captain, make it all the way to major, make it all the way to lieutenant colonel. We had a post commander get relieved, a 1-star general. And you say, man, how did these people make it that far? How did they move up the ladder of success and nobody knew? See, what often happens is people get to a certain position of power that they never should have had. And then what happens? You realize that they abuse the people that are under them with this newfound power. We had a post commander get relieved, 1-star general. We got sergeant majors, first sergeants, you name it. It affects everybody. Man, I got some soldiers out there that I had to kick out, a while back. And if you let them tell their testimony, they're going to tell you that they wouldn't, pretty much, we wouldn't have won any conflict if it wasn't without their doggone, their service in the Army. And I used to have to, get on to these grown men about just working. What would they do? Want to sit around in the smoke pit all day, smoking cigarettes, sit around and vape, hide in the bathroom and want to be on the phone playing games and text? But if you let these people tell you their testimony and you take the bait, hook, line, and sinker, you would be attacking the entirety. And these people are not credible witnesses. Sit around and leave a mess for other people to clean up. But they'll tell you, I'm clean, I'm pure, I'm righteous. And on the other hand, I'm telling you, that ain't what it is. I was around these people. I was around some of these soldiers that was worthless and had to get put out. The Army has a bare minimum standard of 70%. You don't have to excel. You can do 70% in physical fitness. You can shoot the bare minimum in weapons qualifications, and you can get 10 years out of the military like that, 15 years out of the military like that. If you ride these waves, but you won't get promoted fast, you will not get promoted fast. You're going to be at the back of the barrel when it comes to promotion. And people always love the testimony that promotes or provokes emotional stimuli. People don't care about the truth in it. You got to look at, like Shep said, all these news reporters making these videos and just pretty much taking the false testimony of other people, adding on to it. And these people consider themselves Christians. They go to a local church. Your local news reporter is a member at a local church and thinks that they're doing something right and ain't doing nothing but bearing false witness for a career. Bearing false witness. And then you take that bait, hook, line, and sinker because you too doggone selfish to be set free. You got men and women rather take out a car note for $80,000 so you can say it's yours. You can say it's mine. You don't give a dang about the dependability of the car. You potentially putting your family in bondage due to your own ignorance, rather than somebody having the wisdom to say, you know what, we're not going to buy this car because at 30,000 miles, they having problems with it. It's going to be a money pit. You'd have a problem with somebody saying, hey, we're going to take all the money and we're going to buy this minivan. We're going to buy this Toyota Camry that we can get 400,000 miles off this Camry. Everybody can use it. Rather than getting a base model, we can put our money together and get one fully loaded. When you need to drive somewhere, you can use it. When you need to go somewhere, but because you want to be selfish, you ain't going to never own shit. Never have the kind of freedom. When you look at, let me tell you something, the kind of people that hate on Straitway. This is the kind of people that go down to the bank, get a mortgage, and them people shake your hand and say, congratulations, you're a homeowner. You take that bait hook, line, and sinker and don't realize that you just put yourself in the bondage. You going around telling everybody you built the house. You ain't built no damn house. Ain't built not a lick of that house. But then there's the people out there that see the righteousness, that see the goodness. Man, we tune in. Even if we don't agree with something, it's generally because we don't have the understanding. And we ain't walked enough in it to be able to understand. But that's already rare. And those are the people that truly support the ministry up close and from a distance. But the rest of these people, like 99% of the people, man, they are not with it. If you had to pick a ministry today in order for your soul salvation's sake, you got more pastors and ministries that's operating out of debt. And here you have a rare one that's not doing that. You know, your pastor, the way that they teach the replacement theology, and they have a hatred towards righteousness because they're religious, your pastor wouldn't give a damn if your kids came and got their clothes repoed. Why? Because they're in support of teaching you to finance everything. The clothes on your doggone kids' back finance from Old Navy credit card. If these places went out of business today and said, hey, we got to come get our stuff back, we got to liquidate, your kids would be walking around butt naked because you chose to keep them in bondage. That brother told you, he said, man, we don't have no car note. We don't have no bills, no electricity. He told you, man, he runs a business and it's for the betterment of the community. You got to think, man, I'm 3 years out from retirement, getting a check for the rest of my life, you know, potentially getting disability, depend on the ratings, the way the ratings come out. And if I hit it a certain way, man, I'll be tax exempt. But I'm not inviting everybody to take part in that. Why? Because they're only there for a good time. They're not there to build. They're not there to build. And I had these conversations. I say, man, if this thing plays out right, man, I say, when I continue to work, when I'm done with this, we're going to buy all this land up around here. Buy it all up. Cash. Buy it all up. Especially if I get that tax exempt status. Oh, it's game over. But I'm not letting any and everybody come on, because you can look at these people and discern that they got some hatred in their heart towards the way of righteousness. They rather cut all these contracts with the inhabitants of the land than rather to come out from among them. The people that support from a distance, hey, we're focusing on coming out. You can't watch nobody that want to keep you in and expect them to teach you how to come out. Okay, here's another. Your pastor don't teach on certain topics. So you can't never expect people that's struggling with the areas that he chooses not to teach in because he's appeasing the feelings of the congregation. You can't never expect no deliverance for these people. What do? Invite them in, take their money. You ain't persecuting them. You ain't persecuting them. Pastor ain't even married. Ain't never been married. You'd be surprised When they get called out for butt cheek diving, you ain't persecuting them. Oh, grace, favor. But you persecute the people that's giving you an example. If it wasn't for Straitway, I wouldn't have, I'm telling you, for them showing me an example, it wouldn't have never clicked that can be a reality. That can be a reality. I've said it time and time again. Man, when you watch our videos on either channel that I have, and I'm showing you my garden, it may look like a lot, but it ain't enough. I need to be growing more. I rode by somewhere yesterday, and they had probably over 100 acres of solar panels in a small country town that I went fishing in. And I looked at this, I thought about, I said, man, we got some solar panels, but we ain't got enough. We ain't got enough. And when you choose not to follow the path, let me tell you what you'll do. You'll be in all this debt and possibly never pay it off. The stuff get ate up by probate court. And then you're leaving all this stuff to your kids that ain't been raised in righteousness. Say, for instance, you got a house that's worth $300,000 paid off. Your kids, because they've never learned the way of righteousness, you've never structured it for them to prosper. You die, leave them this house. Guess what they do? Sell it off for pennies on the dollar. And then go take out more debt for their doggone house. They don't understand it. Man, the attacks on Straitway are real. And you have to be able to acknowledge. When you see some of these, there's plenty of women out there that attack Straitway. They talk about the women is abused. And when you look at them. They're a bunch of wig-wearing, weave-wearing witches. Eyelashes and all this trying to fool you. But those that spiritually discern can see the spirit of Jezebel. You sitting up here with fake eyelashes on and straight weave as a daughter of Zion that ain't even your doggone natural hair color and want to attack the sister that's actually doing the stuff of the book. Come on. Slap yourself. Slap yourself. This stuff is real. You look at the men that choose to persecute Straitway. Look, if you could take a microscope and look at they women, you'll be like, you don't have no reason. You should put the shut to the up and follow suit. Follow suit. You gotta understand, man, you have to, if the Most High Yah is not dealing with you, you're not gonna be able to understand and comprehend the blessings, the testimonies that people have at Straitway. It's somebody out there right now that's a double-minded heathen that's probably chopping up the video that Pastor Dowell posted today where that brother from Straitway Praise Land was giving a testimony, and because they operate as religious heathens, they will never understand the way of righteousness. And they're going to use that to continue to attack the righteous. And this is why this walk calls for the endurance of the saints. The endurance of the saints. It's the lawless people that wear the saints out and persecute them for righteousness' sake. How many people, people rather attack PastorDowell, all the different brothers, sisters, and saints there, rather than attack your pastor that every week telling you to sow a seed. Open your wallet up. Who can sow a $500,000 seed? You got people like David E. Taylor out there openly scamming people. Ain't nobody attacking him. People still tuning in to David E. Taylor. Sow a seed. I think somebody out there can sow a $1,000 seed. I think somebody out there, I feel it. If you got this money in your 401k, your investment plans, give it on up. They're sitting up there lying to you. They not getting attacked. That joker ain't never told you how to plant nothing in your life. I tell you, man, I'm truly thankful because people don't realize you can attack something that one day, if you ever get delivered, you may not have the example to follow. You may not have it. Man, I tell you, the best seeds that I've sown outside of Christianity was taking cash, going and buying fruit trees. Plant them and seeing them bear fruit. Woo! That's like, people don't understand the goodness in that, but they'll sit up And no matter what the saints and sisters and the leaders of Straitway showing them, they got hatred in their heart. These people showing you how not to have this GMO, this processed food. And you know what? You will see the people doing it, and you attack. They ain't attacking the Amish like this. Amish been doing it. And you will buy the Amish product and then go tell people how good it is. But you yourself, too sorry to do anything. Too sorry to build anything worth of while for your family or for people. A lot of people don't realize, man, how double-minded and delusional they are. Delusional. Here's another one. Here's another attack. People like to say, okay, man, they selling off virgins. Selling off virgins. It's a lot of wicked, lawless. Guess what? They promote that girlfriend and boyfriend culture. Ain't nothing wrong with a virgin. They attack the women that's the women that have operated as a harlot and a man has ignorantly chosen them. They attack the women that haven't defiled themselves. Why? Because they hate themselves. Rather than sitting back and saying, man, that's good that somebody's actually doing that, and then trying to contribute in whatever way, try to keep it going, they attack it. And you can't throw a rock. You can Google churches in your area. And I tell you, man, you'd be surprised if you have 1% of the churches in your area, especially if you're in a big city, that's operating in a capacity like that, telling you to come out. Come on. See, these people rather sit up and listen to Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, Joyce Meyer, Stephen Furtick, and these people ain't gonna never get you set free. They're gonna keep you in bondage. Keep you operating as a whore, as a man or a woman. It's real out here, man. But shout out to the brother that posted that video, that did that testimony, because the 1%, the remnant understands. The remnant understands. And for the people that might not be there yet, hey, we trying to keep it going. We trying to support, versus the people out here that should be actually saying, man, you know what? That's good. Hallelujah for having an example. People persecuted Messiah Hamashiach, who was the example for you to follow. So it doesn't surprise me that they do the same thing in this day, time, and hour. When you have people that are persecuting the saints and sisters of today that are setting an example. Tell you, man, you got to get out of your feelings for righteousness' sake. Closer to y'all ministries, kicking that thing, gun